Charles, thank you so much for doing this, and it's really nice to see you again. I know we've known each other for a long time, but it's been a while since we've actually talked face to face, so I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, I'm real happy to see Adam. Yeah, we went to high school together. When did you actually? Which year did you come in? High school in
I
Perth?
came in I came in at the end of year 8, and then I left the Churchlands we're talking about year 10. So yeah, we were at high school together for quite a while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you left. You went there the whole time. Yeah,
No, I
that was fun.
defected.
That was fun.
Hmm.
Fun.
Well, now we're both
Yeah,
in this similar kind of industry, so it's funny how that
so
works.
yeah, I remember I bumped into you on a train in Perth actually at some point, and then you said that yeah, I want to move into TV and film. I was like, what? We never talked about it. Well, I guess it's
Yeah, and I never
yeah,
knew you wanted to be an actor or musician, so it's funny how these things happen, and then we both ended up in Sydney.
yeah. It's so funny. And now you're in Canberra doing
Yes,
a podcast.
just moving and eternally moving, never settling anywhere. I just wanted
Yeah.
to introduce you as well for people who don't know who you are and what you've done in the past. So for everyone who doesn't know, Charles is an actor, he's a writer, and he's also a musician. And he's worked on multiple productions, mainly in theatre, Sydney and Melbourne theatre companies, Belvoir, and he's appeared in also TV series like Doctor, Harrow, and Secret City. That's just a few of them, right? You've been in some other productions as well. Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to start off and kick off by asking when did you realize that you actually wanted to pursue acting?
Oh man, good question. I don't remember actually ever having an alternative in my head. Like I think I at some point wanted to be a rock star because I picked up a guitar and I thought this is what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
And I loved films. I thought I wanted to be a film director. But I had always done drama in school, and without really ever saying that this is the only thing I want to do or this must be it, I just kept going with it. And then did plays and I auditioned for drama school, and I have kind of been working ever since. But I can't imagine myself doing anything else because I'm not trained with it. I'm not able to do anything else. So it's it's nice that I enjoy it as well.
No other choice.
No other choice.
So what was that process of auditioning for? You said you went to drama school. What was that process like, and how did you get to the point where you felt confident enough to say, right, I'm ready to audition to go to drama school?
Right. Well, I did after graduating from high school. I did 2 years of like an undergrad at Curtin University in Perth, and it was just a Bachelor of Arts. But the great thing about it was we had access to the student theatre, the Hayman Theatre, which was just completely extracurricular, which meant that we could just put on shows, be in shows, direct shows, figure out how to do lighting and sound and stage manage, and just everything that goes into putting a theatre show together, we could just put our hands up and do. And it was completely outside of our degree. So it meant that most of the people that I knew who were doing my degree and wanted to do theatre were just at uni all the time, and putting on shows in this like 70-seat black box theatre that, nobody came to. But it was like the time of our lives because it was, the stakes were really high for some reason. Like we wanted to make really great theatre, and our know-how wasn't that great, but it was such a formative time in my training of just being able to do and make mistakes constantly and really with no consequences because you just hang out with your friends. And so I did 2 years of that, and before I graduated, I auditioned for NIDA for the second time, and I was lucky enough to get in with a really great bunch of people. And I think definitely those 2 years of student theatre helped me out a lot because I practiced it. It didn't feel foreign to me. I didn't feel like I was inexperienced. I was inexperienced, obviously, but I felt like at that time in my life that I had done a lot in the past 2 years leading up to NIDA. And so, yeah, and it was a good time. It was a lucky time. And that was that. And then I obviously discovered that I knew nothing and still know nothing. Then you go through 3 years,
Yeah.
relearning things. God, I put people through that.
No, what you're saying kind of resonates with me as well, because I went to film school and I was learning by making short films. And like you said, making mistakes, so super important. Like just doing it raw and doing it with people where there's absolutely no consequences and you're all having a good time. Like you said, that was the best time because it was so like you felt like there was no restrictions. Like there was no like you didn't have to worry about the quality. You obviously wanted to make it great in those times, but you had no idea that what you were making was terrible.
Totally. Yeah. Which is such a freeing feeling because you didn't know, you obviously always aiming for greatness in your hubris, but
in your own mind. Yeah.
But you don't, exactly. You don't know what that is. And so it doesn't hinder you when you're trying to make stuff because you just have no frame of reference. And it's only after when you make subsequent work that you appreciate the early stuff that you did. And, can look at it with some with some gladness that you did it.
So you auditioned for NIDA twice. So what happened the first time? Was it just a matter of that you were too raw or you're too young, or what do you think happened the first time that didn't happen the second time?
Oh, probably a combination of all those things. I was too young, too raw, wasn't right for the year, or, there were better people. Any of those things could be right. And I was very, very fortunate that I got in the year that I did, because some of my best friends are still, that I went to the school with that night. And because I moved from Perth to Sydney as well, most of the people that I met, most of my friends now are either from NIDA or around the industry that I just, that are just grown. And so, I felt really fortunate to get into the year that I did. And I think that's probably the case for most people. I think they have a good sense of who the people that will fit together or because you have to, you spend 3 years together, you have to get along. I think they have a good sense of which bunch of people could make a successful cohort and to come out at the right time.
I completely agree. I think it's kind of like casting a film. Like you're kind of casting a community of people rather than just picking the best people possible. You've got to think how are these people going to go together. And I've never thought of it that way in terms of a drama school particularly, but when you say that, it makes perfect sense because, again, similar thing in film school. Like a lot of the friends that you make are almost lifelong friends because you're all doing these things together for such a long and intensive period of time, and you build relationships with those people. And it's amazing. Yeah,
it's amazing. And it happens at such a formative time in your life as well. You're just, you're learning a new trade and you're dreaming of the possibilities of what your life could be. And you have people going through the same thing and you see them every day. So you just form these links that are unbreakable because you go through a lot of stuff together. And it's totally like casting a film. You have to find the alchemy of the right people, that fit together really well.
And so let's talk about NIDA a little bit. It's 3 years, right? Full time?
Yeah.
So what was that experience like, and what do you feel like you learned while you were there?
Most of all, I think you learn how to use your body and your voice, and you become really rigorous at looking at scripts, looking at material, and you get really practiced in performance because you do it every day, and it's all kinds of different texts from different eras, contemporary or classic, or Shakespeare and Chekhov. And you get some film training as well. You learn how to be comfortable in front of the camera. It runs a whole gamut of what you expect to be doing in the industry. But also it's like the introduction. 3 years, it's really the introduction to everything. You get some of the fundamentals and you get some experience of performing live or performing scenes. And so you have some kind of knowledge of what it's all like. But it really just gives you the basis for when you go out to the industry and then you really start working. And that's when you do the bulk of your learning, I feel, actually on the job. It's just helpful to give you that little bit of leg up so you don't go in completely cold. And obviously that's also not the only way to become an actor. A lot of actors I know didn't go to drama school and have no need for it, or just led different lives and went into the industry in different ways. I always wanted to go because I love theatre, and I love I wanted to train in that, and so it suits different needs for different people in drama school, and if you're fortunate enough to be able to afford to go there as well, and because you can't really work for 3 years, it's it's a really great thing. And so we learned how to use our voices. We learned how to move. We learned how to see ourselves not just as actors, but also as, physical bodies, and how to work with people, work with an ensemble. And you sing, you dance, you do a little bit of everything, really. But I think what was most helpful for me was doing shows, was doing performances, doing plays, and performing for people, and getting that muscle up, so it becomes second nature to you. And I think that's what I found really useful when I've been working as well, is getting that rhythm going. It's like, I'm going to do this again, I'm going to do this again, I'm going to do this again. Same with film, I'm going to do this take again. And I can do it because you're practicing it, which is, it's like you're building muscles. You're building muscles for 3 years until everything hopefully becomes quite comfortable to you, or as comfortable as it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, sometimes I've likened it to like, it's a 3-year intensive workshop where you're just literally just exercising a muscle, and you're practicing and practicing and practicing. And that's how people get so good. And like you say, not everyone has to go to drama school, because they can do that elsewhere. Yeah. They can learn on the job, making short films or doing other things. But that's what drama school is helpful for.
Yeah, definitely. And and doing it with other people as well. So you get to help each other.
And you're all learning together,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so when you graduated, what was the first initial leap into the industry? What was that like? Obviously, I know you have an industry showcase that I was fortunate enough to go to. What was that experience like when you graduated?
Oh man, it's just the last month or two of third year, it's just so fraught, because everyone is you're just in fear and anticipation of everything. Like, what have I been building up to for 3 years? What is it going to look like for me? And things happen at different times for different people, and success comes at different times. I didn't think I would work at all. Like, I didn't really have that much interest when I finished after 3 years. And I didn't know where I was going to go, really. But I worked as a waiter for a little bit, and I did some delivery stuff. But I got a play at Belvoir in 6 months into my first year at Downstairs with one of our former tutors, and it was really wonderful. We took a show to Brisbane, and then we opened at Belvoir. And then from there, really, I kind of, I got to meet people in theatre, and those doors kind of opened for me, and I kept doing shows. And then Secret City was a big one to open, and it was my first TV gig. And then Doctor kind of opened things up, and I became a regular on that show. And I learned so much about film acting, really on the job. And even in the last, I would say, 2 seasons of it, until a 5-season run, that I got familiar with it and felt comfortable going to set. It felt fun going to set, as opposed to being really foreign to everything. And so I've been really fortunate to get some of these really formative jobs early on in my career to really augment my drama school learning. And now I feel I wouldn't say comfortable, but I feel like I've done I've done it a couple of times to be able to enjoy it. I think that's the biggest thing that you find once you start working regularly, that you find, I really enjoy this because I'm not worried, and and you find that your work is a lot better when you start to enjoy yourself, or to allow yourself to enjoy yourself. You have to actually learn how to do it, because you have to remember that this is fun. What we're doing, it's play, and it really helps when you get to that point. And it's not always easy, but that's probably my biggest takeaway. Where I feel like I'm comfortable is when I am having fun.
Yeah. It's interesting that it took you a couple of seasons of to be a regular on a show to even feel that comfort, which is would have been what, 4 or 5 years after you'd finished drama school and you'd been through all these different plays and I'm assuming you did hundreds of auditions and went through all these meetings with casting directors and agents and all this stuff, and to get to that point down the track. I feel like some people think, oh, I have to be comfortable now, and it's like, no, you have you have to play the long game. It's patience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you can always remember to have fun. That's I think that's something you can always tell yourself.
I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely. It might not always work in theory, but it really just took me a while to get a hang of things, really. Because on film sets especially, it can be, and because NIDA is mostly a theatre training institution, I feel like actors come out of that by practice in theatre. But film is, you really have to learn on the job, and no one holds your hand ever. Like you should. And even if you are regular, even if you are show up for 10 out of 10 episodes, you kind of have to, you just have to do it. Like they expect you to come on and do it. I don't know. We rehearse maybe once. You do a read through, and then you block it, and then you're already like doing the thing, which is invigorating, which is incredible, because you don't overthink anything, so you have to be present. But it takes a while to get better at being present immediately and having fun in doing that. And that just comes with practice. And what also comes with watching a lot. It comes with watching a lot. It comes with watching other people. It comes with watching films. But then, when you do it a couple of times, it's you go, oh, great, I can do this. This is how my body sits, and this is how I speak. And you get to know yourself very well. And that only takes time. That takes time, And so, there's no rush in things, really. Everybody's still learning. Everybody I see on set, in a couple of decades, my senior, still learning. They're still going through the same things. But it's, I feel like every year, every single job, you find it more and more pleasurable, which is a really nice thing to know. And it's a good thing to get excited about as well. I don't think it gets easier, but it gets more fun.
No, that's I really like that. I really like that thinking as well, because I've mentioned this before in the past, and I completely agree with it, that we're all learning, and you don't get to a point where you know everything and you feel totally comfortable at all times. You're always going to have nerves. You're always going to be like you said at the beginning, you were probably learning when the camera was rolling, and you weren't you're not able to rehearse sometimes. And you're literally your learning process is being recorded and put out on television. Then there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to sit with it,
absolutely,
and be comfortable with it, and go, you know what, I'm never going to be perfect, and I just have to be as comfortable and as happy as possible with my work, and just go with it.
Yeah, totally. And that's totally true what you said, when you're learning when the cameras are rolling. You learn something like mid-take. You go, oh, man, I should have. Oh, you go, oh, that was great. Yeah. It's such a...
But that's fun. Feeling. That's so fun to me. Like, the process of discovery it sounds so fun. I'm not an actor. I never claimed to be an actor. But you saying that makes me feel like that would be such a fun experience, going like, I've discovered something mid-take, or going, oh, next time I'm going to do it this way, or on the next job I'm going to do it this way, because I've learnt through doing this.
Yeah, totally. And so many things, oh, this will make my life easier. That will make my life easier. This is so much better. This is so much easier. This is so much more fun. This is so much more pleasurable. Yeah, that was a big thing I learned in drama school. We had a great tutor who would always say, "What's the pleasure to play? What's the pleasure to play?" Which and so instead of like trying to figure things out or what is the scene? What is that? Your focus goes in a different direction, which is just, how am I having fun? What way can I have the most fun? What's most pleasurable to me? And it might sound flippant, but it's not. It's really not. You find so much of your best work and so much of your most active listening in theatre and in film when you're having fun and when you're looking at people and listening to people. It's it's easier said than done, but the pursuit of it is so much better than another direction. But that's just for me. I like working with people and getting ideas from other people. I find it easier. It's just easier to work. a more fun way to work. You know,
I love that. And so I think a lot of great screen acting is about being present and listening, like you were saying. What are some tips for people who are just starting out, or people that have gone through this process and are still learning? Like we said, we're all still learning. What are some tips that you found helpful when it comes to being present?
Right. I think the easiest technical thing to do is to just know your lines really well. Like that's something, you know, I assume most people can do, and just know them to the point that you don't have to worry about them. You don't have to search for it. It's just in there. But without making any big decisions or anything, or many choices, you might have an idea of where you'd like to take things. But I think what really helps me is to just know the lines like you would know a sequence of numbers. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like it's just in there. You can say it in any way. You don't have to reach for it. And so when you're on set, you're not, oh, what if I forget this thing? What am I meant to say? Who am I? And so you can just play with people. You can just play with your scene partner and try to figure things out together, because they're also doing the exact same thing. Like the scene is new. You're not recreating anything. Like you're doing it for the first time, and that's the performance. And so what really helps you, your partners, and the scene is that if you're just really comfortable with your material, and you're open to where it might go, and know that everybody else is kind of doing the same thing, and it helps you and the entire process if you're open and you say, hey, I'm here. What could this be? What is the most pleasurable version of this scene? Or what's the best version of the scene that we can work on together? And yeah, you just find there's something lifts in your heart when it's not like a competition, or it's not like, I think a lot of people, most people on set, they think they're the worst person there. You know, they'll think they'll get figured out.
Yeah.
If you just like everybody thinks that, then you don't have to worry about it. And not even the actors, like everybody on set, everybody in the crew is going, oh my God, what if they figure out I can't actually do this thing? And so if you just kind of take that thought out and go, everyone's just here to work, it just makes it fun. It makes it like a nicer day on set, because set, you know, days on set can be very long. You're quite cold. You might be hungry, like, you know, all those things.
I hope you're not too hungry. I hope the catering's good.
Oh yeah, the catering is definitely good. Before you get hungry, but it's
But you're right. I think it's a collaboration, right? You're all helping each other, and that's when it all clicks. Like when you're all helping each other and all collaborating, that's when things feel right. Yeah,
totally. I can't imagine anywhere, you know, another way to work, really. Theatre is like that. You have to work together for 5-6 weeks to build something. And then when the show opens, you still have to work together to actually like maintain. But yeah, film can sometimes feel like it's not that, but I think it can be like that every single day. And that's when you make, you know, a really great piece of work, is that you're constantly collaborating to build something.
I think that's because film is very stop-start. Like you're rolling, you're cutting, and then there's a break for 20 minutes or something. Like you're sitting around for an hour or two. Like that's probably why film feels a little bit different to people, and that's just part of the process. Theatre is, as an actor, I would assume that theatre is more fun because you're rehearsing for longer periods of time, and when you're performing, it's like an hour and a half, and it never stops, and that you're constantly like thinking in the way the character is thinking. But film has its own rhythms, and that's something I'm sure you've learned to enjoy and appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, theatre, I guess you build towards something for a long time, and it takes up a longer time in your life, every project, and you can make some really indelible memories. I always say in the theatre, like the highs are higher and the lows are lower. But in film, it's really exciting. It's really invigorating. You show up to do one scene a day that you didn't exist to you the day before, and then it's there in perpetuity. And you shoot things out of sequence. You shoot, you know. I did an episode on Harrow where we shot the last scene on my first day, and then we moved backwards towards the very first meeting, and you have to like rejig what your thinking is. but it also means that it takes you out of your head, because you can't actually plot things out, in a chronological way, and so you're forced to be present, because you go, okay, what's this thing? What am I doing now?
Mm-hmm.
What am I actually doing right? And that you might not always get in theatre, because you have to do a show 40, 50 times, and so you have to work a little bit harder to keep it fresh. But
yes.
You're forced to be fresh, because you literally never done it before. And you don't know you don't know how it's going to proceed. You don't know how they're going to cut it. You don't even know if it might make it. So you have to really bring it, and it can be really fun. So,
exactly. Sometimes in television or film, your performance is actually created by the editor, because they're choosing the takes, and also the director. The director's choosing the right takes. So you only have so much control in film and television.
Yeah, definitely. You can only focus on what you're doing, because you don't really know how you're lit, or how you sound. Like, there's so much of it that's out of your control, but that other people are working towards to make you look better. And so, you can take some comfort in that. In theater, you're just naked. Like, you're really up there. You're really up there.
Yeah.
I love them both, but they both have their own things that keep you up at night.
So what is the audition process like for you when you, for specifically for film and television, what has the audition process been like? Like, going to see casting directors or doing self-tapes, what have you learnt, and what sort of things have you done to help you?
At the moment, for the last year, obviously, it's been a lot of self-tapes. Obviously for everybody, but at the start of my career was going to a lot of meetings, a lot of castings, and over time you like, it's what I was saying before. You build up a pleasure to play. You show up like you are already on set doing a job, not auditioning for a job. That's what everybody says, but it's totally true, because it just means you take the pressure out of auditioning out of your head, and then you just go to work. And then you do what you would do instead of what you would audition for. And what I found really helpful is you won't fit, and no actor will fit every single brief that you get, but you will make it your own, because that's not only is that the best thing to do, it's also the easiest thing to do. And it's the most entertaining thing. It's the most pleasurable thing to watch when you come from you. And that, a different school, other people might subscribe to different schools of thought, different schools of acting, but I've always found it the most enjoyable and the easiest, and the most exciting thing is if you go into every briefing from yourself. You're not just playing yourself, but nobody really plays characters or themselves. You do what you do. You do what your body is capable of. You do what your voice is capable of. You do as your tastes prescribe as well. And just be confident in it. Just be confident that you, as a person, is entertaining, and there's something fun about you, because you want to do this in the first place. And so there's something about you that wants to be seen and wants to play. And I think it's a really great thing to take away, is that you're entertaining yourself.
Absolutely. And I think it's you definitely have to be authentic. As someone who's sat on the other side of the camera in those kind of castings, it's what you've said is absolutely true. Like, that you can't mold yourself to some idea of what you think that they're looking for. You can only give them your best and what you're good for, so that, hey, you may not be right for this one, but the next one, they know exactly what you're right for, because these are your particular qualities. Like, this is what the characteristics that you bring, this is what you're capable of. And then that's all you can do really in an audition setting. And it's definitely the right approach to go in and as if you've already got the job, because the job itself shouldn't be the goal at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of your job is to audition, and so it's not. You're already working. Like, you're not. It's not the. It's not a unnecessary step before you actually get to do the work. It's part of the job, And you should be able to make it fun for yourself instead of this being like a nerve-wracking thing. You know, they'll hate me, they won't like me, I'm not doing it right, I'm not the thing they want, because it's impossible. You know, you might not be a 6'2" blonde surfer. It might not be for you. They're seeing you. It means that they want it. But what about this person? That's what they're thought. So
it absolutely is.
Entertain that thought for them and give them the best version of yourself. And yeah, then it will be less fearful because you'll feel less underqualified because you're always qualified to be yourself. So yeah.
That's such an amazing way of putting it. You're always qualified to be yourself. That's perfect. I completely, I'm 100% behind that way of thinking. It's the only thing you can do at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. And you always feel good. You're not pretending. You're not pretending. You're being honest. It's a bit like being on a first date or whatever. You just show them the best version of yourself, which is, and so that's the easiest thing to do. And you won't, have consequences down the line.
And I think it's also something to bear in mind when you're going for an agent as well, right? How's that relationship been with your agent in particular, and how did you find that process in terms of getting an agent? An agent is kind of like an audition, right? Like going for an agent it's a collaboration, obviously, but you obviously want to secure that position with that person if you really like them, respect them. Yeah, definitely.
I was pretty lucky at a showcase. You get a chance to invite a whole bunch of agents come, and so a lot of them see your work, and so they have some knowledge of who you are. But that first meeting with agents, it's sort of like an audition, definitely. But it's also you have to let them know that you're ready to work and that you're ready to be with them for a while, and that you have to get along as well. You just have to get along with, because you're depending on how long you're with the agents, you might be with them for a decade, or you might call them every day. Like, it's a constant working relationship, and you have to be very comfortable with. And then you have to communicate well. People you have to communicate well with, because they see you at your moments of your most vulnerable and you're most excited, you're most like despondent as well. So you have to be able to spend time with these people. And you get a good feeling if they see who you are, or know who you are, and know what you like, know the kind of work that you want to do. And that comes with being really upfront and honest in your first meeting, and showing them the enthusiasm that you have for what you want to do, and that you want to be their client and you want to work together. Mm-hmm. And you'll know if the people that you're meeting with are the people that you want to do that with. I think you'll know immediately, really. And and you also know if someone is interested in you, right? Like you just have that immediate connection and go, I think they actually want to work with me too. Mm-hmm. It's just a relationship of that you kind of grow over the time that you're one of their clients, and it's a really great thing that you can repay that relationship as well by booking jobs, and it's an exciting thing to build something together. It really is that thing. You build a career together. They are they help you so much.
It is a working relationship, and you do have to be comfortable with them, and you need to like each other at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. And you might not find the right people immediately. Like, they might not be the first people that you are with. I know many people who've swapped agencies and they're very happy. You find them in different ways. You come at them in different ways. You don't have to go to drama school. That's my only frame of reference. But if you do a show somewhere, you can invite agents to see it. You can do a show reel. You can, I guess, you can audition for them in person. But you can also impress on them in person, not in performance, that you really want to do this. and that you're really motivated and really enthusiastic, and that this is what you want to do with your life, and you can excite them and say, come with me on this journey, help me on this journey, and I know that all sounds quite intimidating and daunting, but it's if it's really what you want to do, like it's really not, because once you find yourself in those positions, you're like, oh, I'm here, great, let's go. People come about them in different ways, and they start in industries in different ways.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And just before we go, I wanted to ask you, which actors, or are there any actors in particular that you've worked with that you've learned from the most, and what have you learned from them?
Good question. I've worked with Kate Mulvaney a few times as an actor and as a playwright. And I love watching her because she's so inquisitive and so curious and so generous and open. Even though she's got such a great mind, she's always open for suggestions and to work with people. And she's always really present and knows herself. Peter Carroll, who I've worked with a few times as well, he's obviously done a whole lot. But he, in the same vein of, there's no sense of he knows everything, or that there's nothing left to learn. And he is just as generous to people of his generation and actors like myself or younger who just started. And for him, it's always a joy to work with people. But plenty of others, but those two come to mind immediately, of just people who've done a thing or two, but are still as open and still eager to learn and to work with people, and also find it still fun to do. That's just like so inspiring to know that you can still we can still be at that stage.
Absolutely, you never leave it.
You never leave it. Yeah, and it's so wonderful. It's so great.
Awesome. And what are your plans for the future? Like, what do you want to do? Do you just want to keep doing what you're doing, or what things do you aspire to in moving forwards?
I feel really fortunate at the moment to be working regularly for a while. I've got some work coming up this year, but my writing partner and I, Duncan Ragg, we've been working on projects for a long time. We have a few TV shows in the works. And so I think the dream would be to put up something ourselves and to pitch something ourselves and make it ourselves. We've made a lot of theatre in the past, but I think that the next step is to shoot and write and produce one of our own works through our production company, Corinthian Food Store Company. And also I also have a band. I'd like to write another album, songs, and put on some more gigs. What excites me is just to constantly make work and constantly surround yourself with artists and your own art and sharing it with people. Like this, to me, there's nothing better, really. And so, for the young actors getting into the industry or just starting out, I think one thing to take away is that you can always have fun. It can always be pleasurable, whether you are working or not. Because you can always find a community and other people who are going through the same things, and you presumably enjoy the same things, and you like the same works, or you make things together, and it could be seen by 2 people, it could be seen by 100 people. It doesn't matter, because the joy comes from the doing. And just have fun doing what you're doing. If you are having fun, then you're doing it right. Is what I think. So that's my advice. It's my 2 cents.
No, it's incredible advice. It's the creative lifestyle, and it's something that people like us really enjoy. So I'm really happy to speak with you, Charles, and it's been really nice to catch up again. That was incredible. So thank you so much for coming.
Hey, thanks so much, Adam. Thank you.
All right, I'll speak to you soon, and you take care.
Yeah, you too. See you, mate.